I'm Eden, and this is my dad, Noah. And every week for the past 2 years, we've just been sitting on my bed and having a conversation about something we want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about the Paley Weekend.
All right, so what is the Paley Weekend?
Paley Weekend. We're going to go all the way down to the core of it.
Okay.
The Paley Museum is the center for media. And, is that it? Or media and journalism? Something like that.
Center for Media.
Yeah, Center for Media.
Yeah, the Center for Media it's here in New York City.
Here in New York City. 52nd Street. And between 5th and 6th Avenue.
Yep.
And I think this is the second year. So they hold on the street, for the whole avenue.
No, the whole street.
The whole street.
Yeah, between 5th and 6th Avenue on 52nd Street.
They
Shut it down.
have a big stage, and they have all of these different things to do. So I'll explain what some of those things are. So I'll explain some of my favorites.
Okay, so they're all different
Like stands.
setups.
Like, let's say,
Yeah, they take over
yeah.
a certain space, and they have their setups. Some have tents over them, some are just open air. Yep, okay.
So I'll explain some of my favorites.
Okay.
So, football. In football, they run some drills. So this one was like a race. So I'll run you through the whole thing.
It was a NFL, so each of the
NFL,
sports leagues had a space, and this one was the NFL's, and it was from Madden, the Madden video game, Madden 23.
Yeah. It was, did baseball have one?
Baseball, yeah, they had that batting cage. We didn't do it, but yeah.
Okay. So, what happened in the football drill was you would hop over.
It was like a football obstacle course that you'd see. I don't know what all the things are called, but you would see them on a football practice field.
Yeah, so you hop over two, I'll say
Almost like big foam logs.
thingies. Foam logs. And then, so you hop over two. Then you zigzag. So they actually throw you the football, and you're holding that while you run through. And so you zigzag through 3 cones. Boom, boom, boom. And then there are these two,
They're called tackling dummies.
Yeah, 2 tackling dummies. And you power through them, which was my favorite part of the whole thing. Then you hurdle over 3 hurdles.
Tiny hurdles.
Tiny hurdles, right?
Yeah. Small, yeah.
And then you hop over one more of those loggy things. Then there's one tackling barrel, and you just hit that. Then you spike the ball.
Mm-hmm. That was fun.
It was really fun.
And so, what were the other?
That was the first thing I did both days.
What was the other football thing you did?
There was this show on Nickelodeon. It's called Slime Time, and so you get slimed at the touchdown zone, or the red zone.
But what is this? What's this
show? But the show is a whole football show. It's every week.
It's a football recap show, but with
they show slime lights, so highlights, and when you get the touchdown, you get slimed, and it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to, and they would take a video of you, and they would throw you the ball. And you would do a touchdown dance.
But there was a green screen behind you, and then they'll send us the video.
I wonder what is behind it.
Yeah, maybe it's the end, probably the end zone, and the crowd.
Ooh, that's
probably.
Cool.
Or maybe you're getting slimed, like in one of the highlights. And speaking of getting slimed.
Oh, this was really cool.
How about that transition? You want to say, thanks, Dad, great transition.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you take off your socks and shoes.
Hold on. Instead of saying you. We
Oh,
talked about this.
I.
Wait, we talked about this. This is what I was trying to get to before. We talked about this in your writing.
Right.
Instead of saying you do this, you do this, you do this, you say I did this.
Because I'm doing it,
Right.
not you.
Exactly.
So
if you're giving someone instructions, then next you do this, but you
I'm
did
doing
it.
it.
Yeah.
So I took off my socks and shoes, and and they gave me a rain poncho, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that? And I put it over me. It was huge, but it's good and I covered my face, and then they tell you step into this like what would you call it?
What would you call it?
A box.
Oh yeah, a booth.
A booth? Kind of like a photo booth.
Look like a phone booth even. Yeah.
And you would and stand there. There's a phone place where you can put your phone in. On the outside.
They put their phone there. Yeah.
What was your phone?
No, it wasn't my phone. No, it was theirs. And then they send
it to you.
So you use a QR code. They send it to you.
And
they send it to
3. You're holding it over your face like under. 3, 2, 1, and all this slime just pours on you. I really think it was water. I don't think
it was a little thicker than water, though.
I know, but it was like really thin.
Yeah, but it was.
I don't know, but it was cool. It was still amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And all I see is you.
And because of that, Mom and I thought about that show. You can't do that on television, which we need to find on YouTube. And also, we found Double Dare with Mark Summers, and we showed you your first episode last night. From 1990, which was a riot. That was on Amazon Video.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was a riot. All right, so let's stick with the sports that you did.
Sports. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What was next?
So, hockey. There was the accuracy shot.
Mm-hmm.
When do they do that?
Oh, an All-Star Weekend.
At the All-Star Weekend.
Yes.
They set up these foam plates, and you have to try to break that.
They set up a goal.
Yeah.
And they have
a goal. No goalie.
And they have different.
Is there a goalie?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and you have just
4
spots to hit.
So here, because they can't replace them every time, they had woodland ones. You take a puck.
You?
Oh no, I took a puck and I shot. Did I hit one? I think I hit one.
I think you did hit one once. Yeah.
I hit one once.
That was the first time you ever hit a hockey puck, right?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun. It was kind of easier because it was like raining all weekend, so.
But it was
slippery.
Well, sure, but hitting the targets is hard because they're elevated.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, it was fun seeing Mom do it too.
You want to go? You don't want to go like that. You don't want to swing it like a golf club.
No,
you want to swing it like a broom.
Kind of want to sweep it, but then but that was your first time ever doing it, so then you're not going to do like a wrist shot like I was doing.
No idea what that is.
And I was doing that like you just like kind of flick it.
The funny thing is you were trying, because I told you to try to get to the top ones, but basically all you did was shoot over it.
I hit the crossbar twice, I think.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you're the.
But nothing happens if you hit the crossbar. You don't get like a point or anything.
No, but it was fun.
Because players would hit that all.
All right, keep going.
Basketball, you got to dribble and shoot.
Yeah, I did some basketball shooting. Yeah. So now, because it's the center for media.
Right.
Okay. And a lot of media is television broadcasting.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we get into who you met and those interactive things, what about the interactive things that you did with television?
Oh, so they on Saturday, because we went Saturday and Sunday, they had an NBC booth where you would be just talking like maybe for like 15 seconds.
I think you spoke for a little bit longer. It was just that you could talk for as long as you wanted.
Just talking about what's happening, what you did, what the experience is like.
So you were acting as a
newscaster,
a reporter,
and that was really cool.
So you just had to stand up there and just talk like as if you're live,
which I definitely think is helpful. But I feel like I did better because I do this. So because I'm used to just talking.
It's helpful, but it's also helpful.
But it's much different when you're just talking yourself, not really having a conversation with someone else. It's just harder, just to talk. I feel like, but just on the they didn't give me anything like here's something to talk about, like we're gonna say something. There's like just talk.
Right, just talk about your experience here.
It's much harder, just like when you don't have like any prompts.
So the important thing is to, when doing those types of reports, as you get older, and even just now, even in your writing or when you're speaking to anybody, is just to be organized. Like we talk about organization all the time in math, and am I boring you? No. In math, but math and writing an outline, or at least organizing some thoughts. When you're giving a report, when you're speaking like that, you've seen the TV rundowns before of what people are going to talk about in each segment.
Right.
It's important to be organized in your head. So even just now as we were talking about, all right, let's do all the sports ones first. Yeah. So you're organized, and then
news.
News, exactly. Yeah.
But also I think it's like very important, like to be organized, but also on the news with questions.
Sure.
Just like now, like they might have questions planned in order, but if that is not what the other person is talking about, you got to be organized and maybe switch it up a little bit. Like
Agreed.
be organized with questions, but not always like, let's say talking about let's say we were talking about organization.
Mhm.
Like we were talking about back to school.
Okay.
But then the next question isn't anything about what it is. It's talking about the teacher shortage. That makes no sense.
Right, and unless there was some sort of transition
Right.
in between, and that's also important to transition from one thing to
Right,
the
like
next.
now, because we don't have that much time left, let's talk about this.
So now let's talk about the other broadcasting experience you had was
The other was Bloomberg, right?
Mhm.
So
Business Channel. Yep.
So they set up a teleprompter and a news desk with 2 chairs and a microphone. And you were the news reporter reading off the
You
teleprompter.
were, or I?
Well, I was
There you
the
go.
news reporter
Uh-huh.
reading off the telegram.
The Telegram.
No, the telegram.
Telegram. Well, they might have telegrams. They might have telegrams in that museum, but yeah, the
The
teleprompter.
teleprompter.
Mhm. The teleprompter.
Telegram.
Yeah, so you just sat down and read this script that you hadn't seen before off the prompter. I was very impressed.
Then I didn't believe one thing on there.
Nah, it was all made
It
up.
was, if you eat 2 bags of candy, it might not be as bad as parents say.
Yeah, it was like a fake
funny.
news channel thing, like
Kids know. No, it was. And welcome back. I'm your host, Eden, from the Kids Know More Than Adults News.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so now how about the celebrities that you met and those types of and then those experiences.
And like what I got to do with them.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. So first, I'm just gonna say who I met,
Just do it.
and then I'll talk about
Go
what
ahead.
I did with them.
Do it.
So I met 4 celebrities. George Gray for The Price is Right.
He's
And-
the announcer
yes,
from Price is Right.
Drew Carey's the host of The Price is Right.
Well, we didn't meet Drew, but we were right
Right,
up
that's-
there
And
as
we
he
asked
was
a
talking.
question,
Right, Mom asked a question to Drew Carey.
right?
Yeah.
And then I met Mo Rocca from Innovation Nation and Kate the Chemist, who writes books, videos,
Mhm.
all sorts of science.
She's
stuff.
awesome. Yep.
She is. So I'm gonna start with The Price is Right. They talked a lot about The Price is Right, like the show's production behind the stage, and then also you have to ask questions. What was the question that Mom asked? I totally forget.
Maybe what his favorite game is, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, and Drew said, my favorite games are the ones that people win. And he said, that's why I don't understand why everybody likes Plinko so much, because
You never win.
they don't win as much.
Right.
Yeah. which was
And they
interesting.
did a whole Plinko show one day. Like, just all Plinko.
Yeah,
all
he
the
didn't really
games,
like it.
And only 2 people won any
But he
money.
did give
Like, above 2, only like 2-3 people won money above, like, $3,000.
and he did give a great tip for Plinko, because they had a Plinko board there that you could use.
This is the
That-
tip
that-
that,
and that-
always makes you win.
That we used, not that
And-
you could use, that we used,
Yeah.
and it was
We won.
taking the chip,
And put it under the end.
put it under the end, and put it down a little bit
Yes.
in the slot, and then let it go. And he said that that's the way to assure yourself of winning most of the time. So usually you get up there and you've got 4 chips. He said, if you put it in that slot, you're gonna win at least one of them. And then when we went out and did it, we did. Okay,
Yeah.
so continue with The
I
Price
was
is
the
Right.
only one. I did twice. Not win.
Yeah, okay, so continue
But-
with The Price is Right.
The Price is Right. Then, with George Gray,
Mm-hmm.
you got to spin the wheel with him. Like, they had a little wheel. And you got to take a picture.
Yeah, it was great.
That was great.
Yeah, and he even did. He spun the. You got to spin it once, not twice.
Yeah.
You spin it once, and he said, "You want to say hi? Who do you want to say hi to?" And then so you said hi to us and your grandparents, and I said hi to you guys, and then I said, "I want to say hi to my elementary school teachers."
You
And I-
tried to list off.
And I got to 4th grade, but then I heard it starting to slow down, so I stopped and pulled back. But I got 90 cents. All right, let's move it along.
Then, Mo Rocca and Kate the Chemist together.
So
actually.
give everybody
So
the
they
setup.
have a main stage at Paley, and
It was outside.
outside, yeah. And so
And it was drizzling.
it was. But if you got there first, like we did, even if there was no one there, you got undercover. But so with Mo Rocca, he does a show. Mo
Rocca, yep.
He does a show called Innovation Nation, and it is an innovation show talking about the newest and really creative inventions.
Saturday morning, CBS.
Great show. So, and then he had two people come on stage that were on the show and talk about their invention.
Okay, so they had the brothers who invented this humane mouse trap, which is pretty wild.
It was really
And then
wild.
the girl who invented she
a
won
flashlight. Sorry for interrupting, but a flashlight. Now, when you put it, rub your hands together.
thermal powered.
Now my hands are warm,
Mhm.
and I put the flashlight on my hand, and it lights up from the heat.
Right, thermal powered. And so she won when she was in high school. I think she won the Google Science Award, and she's worked on some other things. So I thought that was very inspirational, seeing somebody up there who's 24 years old and heard about this problem that a friend of hers had in the Philippines, that she was failing her class, her grade, because she didn't have access to electricity. So she couldn't work at night. So she ended up inventing this. And so it's, as she was saying, her name was Adini, saying that thinking about a problem in the world and what you can do, since you're not going to solve all of them, what you can do to help someone or something.
Right, and even if it's not, if it's just contributing to part of the whole problem.
Exactly.
Also, with Mo Rocca, Kate the Chemist came up, and I actually got picked to do an experiment with her, and I got to go on stage, and Kate the Chemist and Mo Rocca were on stage.
Awesome.
That was so cool.
You have to put on the goggles.
And what I did, I'll explain the experiment, is because this is actually a good at-home experiment. You take just like a small bottle, plastic bottle. You just cut 2 inches, keep the top too, and you take like a rag or something, like an old rag. This is what you need. You need food coloring, and you need dish soap. What type? No, I'm forgetting.
Not natural dish soap.
Not natural
So it
dish soap.
needs some of the chemicals in it.
And water. I mixed the water with the dish soap.
And swish it around.
Swish it around. And then and then you put a towel over,
Not a paper towel.
not a paper towel, a rag, over, you flip the bottle over where you can hold the cap, and you you add like thick lines.
We got to put the rubber band around it first.
Oh, right. Oh, my gosh.
Hold it on there.
To hold it on, and then you put really thick lines of food coloring and stripes.
Yeah, any pattern you want.
Any pattern, and then what you do is you dip it in the dish soap mixture.
In the solution now, yeah.
And then you take the bottle like where you would drink. You blow, and all these bubbles come explode.
And it wasn't even like individual bubbles. It was a stream.
Yeah,
It was
it's like a pattern.
What word are you learning right now in school? Or it was on that word list?
What?
Jet.
Jet,
It's
yeah.
like a jet
Jet
stream.
of blood.
Yeah. And you got to ask Mo Rocca a question
Yeah.
about the...
With the filming, because they filmed at the Henry Ford Museum. So I want to know what other places they considered filming it at.
And he said none. That was the one.
Only like the Smithsonian.
Right, he said he's a big fan of the Smithsonian, but he wanted to do something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just so wild to be, shows we watch on TV, then you're up there and you see them and you feel a bit inspired.
Just, like, right there.
And there was, I'm glad that, so when you were about to ask Mo Rocca the question, there wasn't like a question and answer session. But there was time for him to fill before Kate the Chemist came up, which he didn't anticipate. So he was just talking, and
Stalling.
I could tell that he was just filling time. So I said, I said to you, now's the time to ask your question. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you would have preferred to have waited for a question and answer session. Like when this is the time that is allotted to questions, that's when I'll ask. That wasn't going to happen. So it's about recognizing the situation and knowing, okay, well, this is, why not ask the question now? He doesn't have anything planned for this time because he thought Kate the Chemist was going to be up there. So I was telling you, go ahead, ask. You wanted to ask this question. This is the time to ask the question. And you said, no, not yet. And I said, well, what are you waiting for? You weren't really waiting for anything, right?
No, I was
you were just trying
question and answer.
Right, but you were really just waiting for to get the courage to ask the question, right?
Also, I was waiting for a question. But
that wasn't coming.
But it was coming.
No one else asked the question. Then that question and answer session never came, which I knew it wasn't going to happen. So when you want to do something and it is an appropriate time, you're not interrupting anything, just do it. And afterwards you didn't sound nervous when you were asking the question. Was your heart beating a little faster? Right. And you just asked the question. You did it. So it's a good lesson to learn. Just get it out there.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm. So the last thing from the weekend was that inside, and they had a lot of other things too that we didn't do. A lot of characters and meet and greets that you weren't really interested in. That was, they had all 4 major sports trophies.
Everyone was real except the NBA trophy.
It said replica on it, right? So they had the World Series trophy, the Larry O'Brien for the NBA,
real.
the Stanley Cup,
Everyone was real.
and the Lombardi Trophy. And you got to take pictures with them.
I would say my favorite one was the baseball one that has all the flags.
Oh, you like that one? Yeah.
It's cool.
It is cool. They're all pretty cool.
They are.
And also, and all the Super Bowl rings. You got to see the Eagles ring. Super Bowl 50.
Even though I don't have any, it's cool to go.
Yeah. So it was a great time, and as Mom says, traditional advertising works. We saw this on TV.
Yeah, I actually saw it
got
on
it in
commercial,
mailings,
and then I also saw it on a bus.
It was a great time.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm glad we actually saw it on a commercial.
It was a great time. I'm glad you had so much fun. All right, I love you.
Love you.